Boom. Are we live? Are we on? Tell me we're on. I need to straighten out my tie. I've got my little lapel mic on and I'm over here at the office. Somebody was asking me the other day. I said, how many of these do you have? How many of these reflectors do you have? I have more than 10. I don't wear the same one every day, just so you know. Because, on Facebook, they tell you, Simon, how many of those do you have? So what I need to do is I need for you guys to tell me if this broadcast is loud and clear so that we can get the show on the road. I just need to make absolutely certain that the sound is good. And once we establish that, loud and clear. Nathan Zulu, I see you, Nate. The short version of Nathan is Nate. You would think it would be Nath, but apparently not. Guys, in case you noticed, I'm not wearing my watch and my ring. Because, Facebook, everybody notices everything. Somebody will invariably ask, Simon, we see you don't wear your ring. Is there trouble in paradise? Guys, I have misplaced my ring and my watch. I thought I left them on top of my counter in my bedroom, and for the life of me, I can't find them. Because I have this habit, when I eat, because, I eat with my hands, and what I don't like the gunk that sort of gathers underneath my ring. You know how you're eating and then you're washing your hands, washing the nshima off of your hand? Well, I don't like all that gunk going underneath my ring. So I have this thing where I take my ring off, I put it on top of the thingamabob, I wash my hands. Sometimes it just slips my mind. I forget. And although in this case, I don't think that's what happened. I think I left my watch and my ring somewhere in this building, somewhere either in this office or the larger office or the dining. Can't find them. And I feel completely vulnerable without them. Honestly, really. It's a thing. It's a mental thing, But that's just for those, for the nosy people in the world who will notice that. Because, Facebook, they notice everything. So, guys, if you could hop on here real quick and see if we can have a serious conversation around this issue. As many of you know, Zambia, with bated breath, was waiting for the remains of our former and sixth late president, Edgar Lungu, to arrive today. The information we have is that the body's transportation and repatriation was being facilitated very kindly by Valden Findlay and many other friends of EcL, and using a plane called Best Fly, which is owned by an Angolan man, or an Angolan who's very close friends with Valden Findlay. And I've always said this, and I'll never stop saying this. For those of you that have this idea that, Valden is going to sue you for saying that he facilitated. All I'm saying is that Valden's a great guy for having come to the aid of the family. That's all I'm saying. And if you interpret that in any other way than what I'm actually saying, then you have the problem, not me. Okay? So basically, all I'm saying is Valden sort of facilitated. And rightly so, because they were friends. And so everybody woke up this morning knowing full well that the body would arrive. And then all of a sudden, we were blindsided not too long ago, several hours ago. Makebi Zulu went live with the Lungu family in tow, and Makebi began to make these announcements and basically saying that there is yet a further delay in the repatriation of EcL's body. Now, let me begin by saying this. Have you ever heard the story of the camel and the tent? You guys know this story. It's a very famous fable. The camel and the tent is basically a story of a little Bedouin generous man, a nomad that had pitched a tent when the sun fell in the evening, and he went into the tent to take rest. And many of you know that in the desert, it's scorching hot during the day, but it's freezing cold at night. So at night, you know, this little Bedouin man, he pitched a little tent, and he was laying in this tent snugly, very comfortable, and his camel was laying next to the tent. After a few hours, the camel stuck its head into the tent and said to its master, said, "Master, it's freezing cold out here. Would you mind if I just put my head into this tent just so that my head, my skull, would be a tiny bit warm?" The Bedouin man, being generous and kind, he said, "Sure, you can stick your head into the tent for warmth." After a few minutes, the camel said, "Master, you know my neck. Tell you what, this cold, it's biting, it's freezing out here. Yes, my head is warm, and thank you for allowing me to put my head in, but here's the thing, my neck is freezing, and I can't stand this. Honestly, I can't. So if you don't mind, can I stick my neck into the tent as well?" The Bedouin man, being the kind, generous man that he is, he said, "Sure, why don't you stick your neck into this tent and you know, get your neck all warm." A few minutes later, the camel said, "Master, you're not going to believe this. My feet are freezing. It is freezing out here. Would you mind if I just put my feet into the tent?" The Bedouin man, again, being so kind and benevolent and gracious, he said, "Sure, why don't you do it?" Finally, the camel says, "Master, my body, this hump that I'm carrying behind on my back is cold, it's freezing. Do you mind if I just put my body into the tent?" Finally, the master said, "You can do that." But when the camel put its body into the tent, it pushed the master out of the tent. The camel occupied the tent completely. The master was sitting out in the cold of the tent. What is the moral of the story? Sometimes when you give small concessions, they ultimately lead to bigger concessions, and eventually people take advantage of your benevolence. That's the moral of that story. Muchibe matutila uluse lualile nkwale. Mwali chishibe yo saying mwali shibe uluse lualile nkwale. The same applies. What we are witnessing is a family that is bereaved, yes, and we accept that and we understand that, because all of us, it doesn't matter who we are, it doesn't matter where we're from, we've all experienced grief. The only difference is we've never experienced grief. Very few people have experienced the grief of losing a father that once served as a president. So because of that one fact, the family, along with Makebi Zulu, needs to recognize that this funeral doesn't just belong to the family, it belongs to the whole nation. And because it belongs to the entire nation, there has to be some sort of common ground that puts the country first, not the personal interests and the personal grudges of the political party and the family first. No, the country comes first. That one you must understand. Now, in this scenario, what has happened, and you know, HH was benevolent enough to extend the period of mourning for an extra 9 days. As we sit here now, my understanding is that we are in day 4 of the 9-day mourning period. We are now in day 4. And I put on my banner, I said that Makebi Zulu and the family have thrown a spanner in the works. That phrase comes from, imagine, if you will, a car, and you turn on the engine and you lift the, is it the bonnet or the boot? where the engine runs and all the pistons are, and you take a spanner, literally a spanner, you throw it in there, it messes up everything. So everything that was once, firing on all cylinders and everything was working perfectly, when you throw a spanner in there, it discombobulates the whole mechanism of the engine. This is what Makebi Zulu and the family are doing. They are discombobulating the whole process. Now, if you look carefully and you listen carefully, because the question is why. Many of you will sit there and say, but why? Why has Makebi Zulu announced that the body will not arrive today, but it will arrive someday? Right now, as things stand, the Zambian people are experiencing emotional purgatory. We are now in a state of emotional purgatory. We are neither here nor there. We are not going forward. We're not moving backwards in terms of placing Walungu's body to rest. And I've said to you many, many times that it is very significant. It's very important to place a head of state to rest, and anyone for that matter. That's the reason they call it placing him to rest. Why? Because in that act, you are bringing closure. You are opening the doors now to healing. But if you don't do that, you are deliberately creating a spirit of uncomfortability and angst. And you are using that uncomfortability and angst to your political advantage. That is the goal of Given Nubinda. That's the goal of Makebi Zulu. That is the goal of Raphael Hajaka Nakachinda. Dare I say, that is the goal of Emmanuel Mwamba. It's the goal of the party. That is its modus operandi. Now, if you look closely at what Makebi Zulu said, Makebi Zulu outlined the reasons they have reneged, for lack of a better word. The reasons that Makebi Zulu and the family have reneged. They have backtracked. The three main reasons are, number one, Makebi said that on the 16th of June, RDA, Road Development Agency, announced, Kuti, the road that leads to Chifwema, the road that leads to the official residence of EcL, was going to be worked on during the period that the body had returned to Zambia. Secretary to the Cabinet informed the family that these road works are going to be carried out while the body is here. The family and the party objected. They said, no. Those works, you can't have those works while the body is here, because when the body arrives, it will be ferried. It will be transported to and fro during the 3 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. To and fro. To and fro meaning from Mulungushi, from 9 a.m. to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, from 9 a.m. to 16 hours, body viewing. The public, you, me, and everybody else are invited to view the body. The body will lie in state, meaning it will be open in an open public place. That's what lie in state means. The family said at 16 hours, the body will be transported from Mulungushi, driven to Chifwema. That will happen every day for 3 days. So we can't have road works. The government said, no problem. We will suspend those road works. Very quickly, government called RDA and say, but RDA, if you're during this period that Balungu's body is going to be ferried from Mulungushi to Chifwema, I am a road works, stop. But RDA, Baleka. In addition to that, Makebi Zulu announced and said, no, on the 17th of June, the following day, the government said that the public is not allowed to go to the airport, to KK International Airport, to receive the remains of Balungu. The family, along with Makebi Zulu, regarded this as reprehensible. They rejected that notion. Why are you stopping the public from going to KK International Airport and receiving the body? Guys, it is very simple. When you allow the public that is led by the PF party, because you see, the PF party is very adept at mobilizing thuggery. Very adept. The PF party, all it takes is just a phone call. You just tell the commanders, commander waku Chawama, commander waku Kanyama, commander waku Mutendere, commander waku Kumatero. You just tell the commanders, bane tulea ku airport, tulefama bus ID 400. Chila bus mu making sure abalumendo mulete impeta. Make sure you bring three from mendo figure. Make sure you call young men that simply don't have a life and tell them to come to the airport. What you would have ended up having, and guys, I want you to understand this. Pantus, sometimes you think that everything is partisan. You think you're saying that because, but when it comes to cadres, like any Nande, cadres, it doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter which political party they're from. The moment you have a crowd of people that is being led by so-called party loyalists, aka cadres, my goodness. In fact, your KK International Airport is open to the public. Anyone can go there. My goodness. First of all, Chidachi Airport, it will be vandalized. Bane. The whole structure will be vandalized. Anyway, knowing the PF the way we know them. After all, ni isi wakure chiche airport ichi. And in fact, let me tell you, some of you don't know that when KK International Airport was built, it was built by the Chinese. The entrance of the airport, this is a true story, I'm not making this up. I know it's a side note, but let me mention this because I have to make this very valid point. When KK International was first built, before it was commissioned, because it was built by the Chinese, what is the color of the Chinese flag? Tell me. Huh? What is the color of the Chinese flag? Njebe ni muma comments yumo mweba ishba mweba sambidira fota to sambidira imo mweba sambidira. What is the color of the Chinese flag? What is it? Njebe ni muma comments yumo. Some of you don't even know what happened when that airport was being first commissioned. There was drama. This was right before the 2021 elections. When that airport was built, the color of China is red. The Chinese wanted to put a very big red entrance. Parapa front padia. Mawe, apia fali kana sana. Ukweba ma Chinese, if you mlefo kubika red. Wala, taya bombeyo. Chifumie chi red kalecho. Who wants the red here? We know you Chinese, the flag of the color of your national flag is red, yes. But for us, red means something else. To you, it's a color. To us, it is the color of our enemy. Remove that red. Ala kwali kafwafa. You don't even know the hassle and those guys couldn't understand. They said, what do you mean? I mean, this is what we're going to put. No, you can't put red. So my point is, when you say the body is arriving at KK International Airport, anyone is allowed to go there. Mawe, there'll be 10,000 Zambians there. Why? Because there are more. Bane, the PF have supporters in this country, just like UPND has supporters, MMD has all political parties have supporters. They'll go there. Now, when they go there, my goodness, imagine what PF cadres can do to KK International Airport, especially when they have it in their heads. Kuti Ichichi Airport, it was built by EcL. we have the right to this building. Ama shops, imyotoka, people will be robbed, shops will be vandalized, chaos will ensue. It will be utter bedlam. So when Patrick Kangwa responded to Makebi Zulu, when Makebi Zulu said, no, but why are you stopping people from going there? Patrick Kangwa, secretary to the cabinet, simply said, there are security concerns. Now, does it take a rocket scientist to understand that? But to you and me, we're all Zambians. We know how cadres operate, regardless of which political party they're from. It's like they have one mother, the mother of chaos. You allow cadres to go to an airport in this climate, my goodness, where people have an axe to grind, my goodness, where political loyalists see an opportunity to just ignite chaos, my goodness. So those are the concerns. Now, if you ever Sunday Peter, my mother's father, used to say, umuntu na 5 senses alomfwa. Makebi Zulu na family ngaba ikiratiyo if balanda chine ba government if balanda ti yawe ngamwaisula airport abantu bakafula ero kuka ba confusion ama businesses yabantu yakaba affected imyotoka bakatoba. Imagine that car park ku KK International Airport fidaya aba spaka jezi and you release 10,000 cadres in KK mawe, you think imyotoka muri akuti bashipanya ama windscreen, ama wind wipers, ama chiti ayo kuti baya panya. It will be total chaos. Ngabati fya kwati ni mpashi. Ngabati bengire muri mu airport muri ama shops yonse kutoba no kuiba. Ama phone kuiba. That is what the government is concerned about. Now, when the government raises that concern, it is not for the family now to push back and say, no, you are not going according to our agreement. Be reasonable. Put the country first. Be reasonable. Clearly, the family is not being reasonable. They are being unreasonable for the sake of their own political advancement. Now, when you put your political interests before the country, then something is wrong. Something is desperately wrong. Number three, Makebi Zulu pointed out, Kuti, on Thursday, Hagainde Hichilema will lead the mourners at Mulungushi Conference Center. Makebi Zulu said, no, that's not what we agreed. What we agreed was Sunday was when the HH would preside over the ceremony at the showgrounds. The issue here is that the PF, through the conduit of Makebi Zulu, has peddled a lie hatched in the pits of hell. Kuti, Edgar Lungu said, I don't want HH anywhere near my body. Those are lies you tell the Zambian people. You can't prove to us that Edgar Lungu said that. Uwobufi. You are lying. And the truth is not in you. Edgar Lungu may have had personal differences and political differences by virtue of the fact they were partisan. Edgar Lungu was a partisan politician. So of course they would have differences with the HH because they stand on opposite side of the political spectrum, the political divide. They were political opponents. So obviously on the issue of politics, there were many things that they didn't agree on. But for you to suggest, for you to peddle this lie, Kuti, Edgar Lungu said, I don't want HH near my body. Uwobufi, you are lying to the Zambian people. And the purpose of that lie is to create division, angst, and you want to destabilize the peace of this nation. That's what you want. You are not putting the country first. You're not. And for me, I'll be very frank with you, I was very sad to see mwewa Esther. I want to see a situation whereby Esther is speaking because she's the widow. I know in Zambia we've got this new she's the widow, should not talk. No. The widow should be given center stage, not exclusively the family on Edgar Lungu's side talking. That is a big problem. We're going to be hearing about that later. Yoni problem kalamba sana. Don't ignore that fact. Because by and large, we've ignored. The Zambian people have ignored the important role that Esther Lungu plays in this whole thing. You are sidelining her. You are. And it's not right. Put the country first. The reasons that Makebi Zulu has put forward, in his mind, in the family's mind, these reasons are justifiable. They are not. They are unreasonable. What is the purpose? If you say 16th of June you announced Kuti RDA is going to be paving the road that leads to Chifwema, the official residence of EcL, and then the government says okay, we'll tell RDA to stand down. You've been given a concession there. Then you turn around and say no. On the 17th, you announced the Kuti Bantu are not allowed to go to the airport. Why? They gave you the reason. They said it's a security concern. The whole airport will be vandalized. You can't see that? They know it. The PF know what's going on, but they have no idea what's happening. There's a Jimmy Swaggertism right there for you. Jimmy used to say that. They know what's going on, but they have no idea what's happening. Because they're blinded by their own selfish goals. This issue now plays perfectly into the hands of Rafael Hijacker Nakachinda. They are dancing with glee. They're happy. Tuabika spanner in the works. Can you imagine that type of thinking? And you call yourself a Zambian? You're not putting Zambia first. Makebi Zulu, you're not putting Zambia first. Given Rubinda, you are not putting this country first. Emmanuel Mwamba, wherever the hell you are not putting Zambia first. You're putting your own political interests first. This thing where they are saying no, concessions, agreement, it is an attempt to usurp and undermine the authority of this administration by saying no, give us this, give us that, give us that. Before you know it, the whole camel will be in the tent. That, my brothers and sisters, is not what's going to happen here. Let us keep our eyes on the ball. The ball is for us as a people to see our former and late president being laid to rest with dignity, respect. Not this skullduggery that's going on by Makebi and company. Stop it. You will stop at nothing. Of course, you're not going to listen to us. Who are we? You will carry on with your own machinations. But let me tell you, when the dust settles and when the dew dries, regardless of how long it takes, EcL will be buried here in Lusaka. It will happen whether you like it or not. He doesn't just belong to you. He belongs to us. All right.